options. Make amends before you're laying in a coffin. But your loss is you're running out of options. Make amends before you're laying in a coffin.
ビリありのままの私とはなんだ。流行りの波に乗るだけのサーファー。ほらまたの足で首を振るんだ。熱狂すんだ。早フィール何も聞こえやしないか。数字を求めさまよう君には土の雨に打たれる日々だけが幸福感を満たした。鉄の玉が正義の証明貫けば英雄に近づいたその目を通して触れてみれば同じ形同じ体温の悪魔。僕はダメってあいつはいいの。そこに壁があっただけなのに生まれてしまった定め嘆くな。僕らはみんな自由なんだから。鳥のように羽があればどこへだって行けるけど帰る場所がなければきっとどこへも行けない。ただ生きるのは嫌だ。世界は残酷だ。それでも君を愛せよ。何を犠牲にしてもそれでも君を守るよ。間違いだとしても疑ったりしない。正しさとは自分のことを強く信じることだ。鉄の雨が降り散る上下テレビの中映画に見えたんだ。戦争なんて愚かな凶暴関係ない知らない国の話。それならなんであいつに組んで黒い気持ち隠しきれないわけ。説明だってできやしないんだ。僕らはなんて矛盾ばっかなんだ。この言葉も訳されれば本当の意味は伝わらない。信じるのはその目を開いて触れた世界だけ。ただ生きるのは嫌だ。世界は残酷だ。それでも君を愛せよ。何を犠牲にしてもそれでも君を守るよ。選んだ人の影捨てたものの屍。気づいたんだ自分の中育つのは悪魔の子。正義の裏傷の中心には悪魔の子。
翻涌的树叶之中，寻找一簇希望。离散的变幻之间，观测命运流向。看子弹破空裂缝， 聆听纠缠未知的心跳，世界的坐标。一起点过散的支流，叹息陷落命运漩涡。宇宙的蛛网缠结成从高位映射的牢笼，只想手术的未来，记录数据的自白，教会陌生的波澜，会流过去属于我的幽暗光芒。生命的价值何时能一天平衡量？让誓言驱散生命，让约定谱写常理，隐藏在电流的信念都传递。醒来的这份心，如何能再忘记？人是空之力。你选的沙漏入谱，灯塔指人横渡，在觉醒磁带导放，轮转作茧自缚，回溯到某颗月光，再一次照亮你的悲伤，从未能淡忘。谎言和真实的夹缝，存留太多未知可能。考验只剩无声凝望，只待你与过往的人合上双眼推开门，无关聪慧或愚钝，不惑众人的心声，会流过去属于我的幽暗光芒。生命的价值何时能一天平衡量？让誓言驱散生命，让约定谱写常理，隐藏在电流的信念都传递。醒来的这份心，如何能再忘记？ I just know it。 等待回压的双语再度翱翔，屏蔽了早点，飞奔往熟悉的时光。邂逅无序的宿命，重置心中的远景，已经无需我用结局来证明，我能否再一次能与你对视着，不管这姓名。 。
Ain't never seen something quite like it. And where we play, we don't stop fighting. Won't see it coming fast like lightning. Whoa. We'll save the day, they can't deny it. Higher, higher, we're about to set this game on fire, fire. They can't bring us down. We're that whole new type of hero, hero. We gon' win whatever we go, we go. Explosions in the sky, bending space and time. We're that whole new type of hero, hero. Ain't never seen something quite like it. And where we play, we don't stop fighting. Won't see it coming fast like lightning. Whoa. We'll save the day, they can't deny it. Higher, higher, we're about to set this game on fire, fire. They can't bring us down. We're that whole new type of hero, hero. We gon' win whatever we go, we go. Explosions in the sky, bending space and time. We're that whole new type of hero, hero. Higher, higher, we're about to set this game on fire, fire. They can't bring us down. We're that whole new type of hero, hero. We gon' win whatever we go, we go. Explosions in the sky, bending space and time. We're that whole new type of hero, hero.
Welcome to r/best of Redditor updates, where OP gets abandoned at the wedding altar. Our next Reddit post comes from r/advice. My ex-fiance wants to catch up with me after he left me at the altar. How do I proceed? I'm a 28-year-old woman. My ex-fiance, Derek, who's 32, disappeared the morning of our wedding 2 years ago, evading all attempts to reach him from myself and his family. It was devastating, absolutely soul-crushing. The event turned into a party to distract from the pain of the unknown. Afterwards, I returned to our apartment and slept on the bathroom floor in my wedding dress. It was quite the ugly sight, to be honest. His mother ended up coming to my apartment when she informed me tearfully that Derek had run off with an ex of his. They had apparently reconnected a week prior to the wedding, and he just couldn't go through with it, opting instead to rekindle his relationship with his ex. His family was horrified. I didn't hear from him until 3 months after he left. He called me, apologized, and then revealed that his ex had been hiding his child from him, which he just found out about, and he wanted to be with him. That's pretty much all that was said. I didn't say much. Actually, I think I only said hello. The whole situation left me numb. I just didn't care anymore. Thankfully, though, my friends were and continue to be there for me through all this muck. They encouraged me to seek therapy and work on healing, which, I'll be honest, was terribly difficult, but after a year, I felt myself again, which brings me to today. After this whole debacle and subsequent self-improvement, I moved to the UK from Australia for a change in scenery. Last night, I got a message request on Instagram. It was Derek. Hey, waving emoji. I've heard you moved to Wales. That's cool. I'm traveling to Cardiff towards the end of July. I'm deeply sorry about everything, and I want to discuss what happened leading up to the wedding. I hope I'm not overwhelming you. Let me know if you'd like to talk over lunch. Firstly, I have no idea who told him about my move. Secondly, I don't know if I crave closure from him, but I also don't want to decide to decline to only later regret my decision. So I turned to the internet. What should I think about before reaching a decision? Would I be wise to decline, or should I humor him and listen to his reasons? Then, about 2 weeks later, OP posted an update. At first, I decided to not respond to his message. A day after, however, I received another message from him. To sum it up, he apologized for how disingenuous his initial message was, and he explained why he had reached out to me. Essentially, he wanted to discuss that final week before the wedding that led up to him dipping out. Now, I'll refrain from entirely delving into my ex's and I's past, but my ex-fiancé was diagnosed with PTSD with avoidant attribution from past experiences. His diagnosis did provide quite a bit of clarity looking back at our relationship and his past behavior, so I truly feel for him and his journey of self-healing. However, despite his struggles, I still told him that I couldn't forgive him for his callous act of leaving me in a perpetual state of limbo for 3 months, unsure of why he'd abandoned me. He said that he understood. Now, some of you will be quite mad with me, but I ultimately agreed to meet him with lunch, and I do not regret it. He's not currently with his ex. Actually, she passed away 6 months after he left me on the altar, which is part of the reason why she reached out to him in the first place. Since then, he's been working on himself through therapy and navigating single fatherhood. Yes, the child is his. The lunch wasn't too long, but it was all around cathartic on both sides. At the end of the lunch, he handed over an envelope which contained all the money that we spent preparing for the wedding. Honestly, I was dumbfounded. This was not a gesture that I was expecting on his behalf, and I think that he was taken aback when I returned the ring that he gave me. It's funny, I held onto that ring just in case I needed to sell it if my finances continued to be unstable, but I never had to. It's ironic that, in the end, I did receive money while seemingly trading in that ring. He looks better, and not to toot my own horn, but I feel that I do as well. Now that that chapter has concluded, I no longer feel rage or remorse. I feel free. I feared that I might have still harbored feelings for him, but I've since found that I loved him for the man that he was when we were together, and though we're now apart, I'm okay with looking back and acknowledging the love that I had for him. I've closed that chapter now, with him and with the woman that I was with him. Thank you all so much. Any advice on what I should spend the money on now? Haha. Well, I guess all's well that ends well. And, abandoning your fiance on the altar is just awful. It's super terrible. But I gotta say, doing it because you find out that you have a secret child is a fairly good reason. Not to abandon at the altar, that's too much, but to break off the engagement, certainly. What I don't understand though, like the really unforgivable thing is, why did he have to keep you in limbo for 3 months? Even before the wedding, when he found out a week before the wedding, couldn't he have just said, hey, look, I can't go through with this wedding, I just found out I have a kid. At the bare minimum, I have to go do a paternity test to see if this kid is even mine, and if it is, I have to reevaluate things. But if it's not, I still want to get married to you, but if this makes you not want to get married to me, I totally understand. It's just, I can't get married to you right now. Instead, he just pretended everything was fine and then canceled the day of, which is awful, super embarrassing. What a life-scarring event for OP. But OP, I'm glad you're doing better, and I'm glad you got the closure and the healing that you needed. I almost want to feel sympathy for the guy because, God, I'm trying to put myself in the shoes of loving a woman, you want to get married to her, and then finding out all of a sudden, gosh, you have a kid, and the baby mama is about to die any day now. Man, I can't even imagine the emotions I'm going to feel there. So while he definitely should have communicated with OP, I do understand that being very traumatizing and him not acting in the most rational and appropriate way because, man, how do you react in that situation? Our next Reddit post comes from r/legal advice. I'm the owner of a 2-story house. I had gone to Hawaii last week for a 1-week vacation with my wife. No one was at home, and it wasn't feasible for us to take our dogs with us, so I gave my keys to a good friend of mine and asked him to take care of my 2 dogs. This would involve feeding them, giving them water, and taking them on 1-hour daily walks. So my friend's girlfriend was in town, and she had no place to stay. He lives in a 1-bedroom condo with 2 other roommates. So he messaged me and asked me if I would allow his girlfriend to stay at my home for just 1 night. I agreed because it was just 1 night. Now, yesterday I came back and found out that his girlfriend has permanently moved into the upper floor of my house. She's been staying there for 4 days. I asked her to leave immediately, but she and my friends are insisting that I let her stay 1 more week because she's searching for a job in the area. I called the cops. They came and said that this would be a civil matter and I have to go through with the eviction process. So here I am with an unwanted stranger in the upper floor, a butthole of a friend who broke promises, and a pissed off wife. What do I do, guys? Can I change the locks and throw her stuff away when she's out? Cut the electricity to the upper floor? Then, 1 day later, OP posted an update. So, after reading all the advice here and carefully discussing this matter with my cousin, we made a nasty plan. Yesterday night, that squatter girl went outside to grab some dinner with her boyfriend. Me and my cousin carefully packed all of her stuff in her 3 bags, left it on our front porch, and locked ourselves in the house. We also watched over her stuff from our windows to make sure that no one stole it. 2 hours later, the girl returned. She figured it out pretty quickly and started pounding at our door, yelling loudly to open the door. You know, typical squatter drama. We told her to F off and that we won't open the door. So finally, after 30 minutes of constant drama, she dared to call the cops. I was nervous about how it would turn out. The cops arrived, and fortunately, these were different from ones the previous night. First, the cops listened to her side. Then they came to me. I explicitly told the cops that I was the sole owner of the house, and I never allowed this girl to stay more than 1 night. She was not only trespassing, but also living in my house illegally without my permission. This B-word kept saying that I'd given permission to stay there indefinitely, and now I was kicking her out. The officer asked her if she had any proof of that. She claimed that she had some messages which accidentally got deleted. Now the best part. The officer asked her for her ID, and she gave her ID. The officer verified her ID over radio. Suddenly, the person on the radio told the cop that this B-word had a failure to appear warrant for a months-old shoplifting case. This stupid lady was arrested immediately. Her stuff was sent to a friend's house. The officer said that I don't need to worry and they'll take care of her. I don't require any further action. So finally, I'm relieved from that squatter, and this B-word is behind bars. What a justice boner. All's well that ends well. Alright, okay, I can kinda understand being a squatter if you live in an apartment because then you've got a lease, you've got emails back and forth with the landlord. So there's some, precedent that you live there. So squatting then makes sense. But this lady doesn't have a lease. She doesn't have emails. She doesn't have text messages. She has no verification that she can stay there for more than one night. So, I don't want to sound like a psychopath here. I don't want to sound like a violent, crazy person. But what's stopping OP from just shooting her? What's stopping OP from just beating her up and then throwing her outside? And then when the cops show up and they're like, yo, we're going to arrest you because you beat this woman. What's stopping OP from just saying, no, it's self-defense. She broke into my home. She doesn't live here. She's not a tenant. She's a home intruder. She's literally a home intruder, and I was defending my property. I'm not advocating that he do that because that's really extremely violent. It's just, does this not cross this lady's mind at all? She's a home intruder. She's not even a squatter. She's a home intruder. So I don't know, man. Kind of seems like she's playing with fire there, especially if this is in Texas, Florida, a state with more lax gun laws. Our next Reddit post comes from r/todayIF'd up. Today I effed up by not knowing that the guy I like works on the same floor as me. I'm a 19-year-old woman and he's a 21-year-old guy. It all started when a teaching assistant for one of my classes got sick and they got someone else to fill in for a lecture. The guy they got to fill in was a fumbling mess, but damn it, he was also so cute. I did some light stalking afterward and found out that he has a blog, and it was one of the most wholesome and funny things I've read in a while. He's a total nerd, which is very attractive, and I am so into that. One time I was studying in the library and saw that he took a seat near mine, so I struck up a conversation with him and it went so great. We talked for hours and I got no work done. Anyway, I work in a research lab on campus part-time. This past week, my principal investigator was still out on vacation, but my mentor had full access to the lab, so I was free to do experiments unbothered. One of my close friends also works in the same lab as me, so we've been having a blast just hanging out in a basically empty lab. It was about 4 p.m. yesterday when we decided to go out into a hallway to just chill for a bit and eat some snacks. One of the doors to another lab that we were standing close to was open, but we didn't think too much about it since the entire floor was really deserted. We were talking about this guy she's seeing when she asked me if anything new happened between me and that awkward dude who guest lectured. I told her about what happened in the library and she started drilling me. We were micro-analyzing what happened, like, I feel like at least one time his eyes dropped down to my lips. Or, did he stare at you for longer than 5.7 seconds? Because if he did, he for sure wants to passionately hug you. It was all just for fun. Then me, being the crass, unfiltered person I am, went and said, I would even let him do me in the butt if he wanted to, and we both burst out in laughter. Disclaimer, I was kidding. Then, out of nowhere, I hear footsteps coming out of the open door next to me, and both me and my friend whip around to look. Lo and behold, to my terror, the guy I like walks out of the door, gives us a barely concealed shocked look and says, hey, you guys might want to keep it down a little bit. Then he winks at me and goes back inside but leaves the door open. I gave my friend the most mortified look and she mouths, oh my god, that's him. I straight up bolt down the hallway and flee down the stairs with my friend chasing behind me until I reach outside the building where I promptly collapse on a bench. My friend comforted me amidst many fits of laughter while I died slowly due to sheer embarrassment that I brought onto myself. She searched up the name of the lab that is literally 3 doors down from ours, and sure enough, the guy is listed under our team. This guy doesn't have a LinkedIn or a Facebook status saying that he works there. I've never seen him in the hallways ever. Do I think he heard everything I said? Yes. Does his lack of any reaction worry me? Very much so. Do I want to dig a hole and bury myself into it? 100%. Then, 3 months later, OP posted an update. I didn't come back to the lab until winter break was over, hoping that the large influx of people would somehow prevent me from ever seeing him again. That did not happen. On my first day back, I was in the break room making some toast when this guy walks in. Oh no, I thought, knowing that a confrontation was probably inevitable and that I thought to apologize for my crass comment. But instead, I frantically looked away and focused on putting peanut butter on my toast, because if I do that, he can't see me, right? That didn't happen again. Instead, he came up right next to me, smiled, and said, "Hey OP, how was your break?" I looked up awkwardly and told him it was fine. Mainly, I just stayed on campus and worked at the lab. He told me that he basically did the same, but he went to see his family for a couple of days. He didn't bring up what happened either, thank God. Then he said something along the lines of, "Is that all you're having for lunch?" And I was like, yeah, I was in a rush and I forgot to pack something. Then he said, "Oh, I was gonna go grab something to eat at such and such place. You wanna come with?" I was like, oh, that smooth bastard. I tried not reading into it and brushed it off as him being nice, so I said sure, and we went. Well, we ended up having a great lunch. Inevitably, as we were on our way back, he finally made a crack and was like, "So tell me, after our lunch today, how many seconds do you think I spent staring at you?" I literally just looked at him blankly with my jaw dropped before he chuckled out, "It has to be a lot longer than 6 seconds at a time, right? That has to mean I like you." Even with my shock, I managed to laugh and make a wisecrack back at him. Well, tomorrow is our 1-month anniversary, and we have not done the butt stuff. He told me after a couple of weeks that although he appreciated my comment, he is not into that. Looks like I'll be retaining my butt virginity, and I managed to get a super cute, intelligent, and kind boyfriend out of this whole ordeal. OP, this post is super wholesome. Emphasis on the word whole. That was r/best of Redditor updates, and if you like this content, check out my podcast where I publish the exact same episodes. Also, hit that subscribe button because I put out new Reddit videos every single day. Welcome to r/entitled parents, where a woman expects OP to just give up her baby. Our next Reddit post is from Ashamed Leg. For background, I'm a 27-year-old woman, and I live in Italy with Marco, my 37-year-old Italian fiancé, as well as our 5-month-old daughter, Willow. I moved to Italy after graduating medical school where I met Marco, and now I'm a resident in one of the hospitals. My father is a terrible dad. He left my mom and me, and he's been very inconsistent. He married Tammy when I was young, and she has never liked me, and she's also never been able to have kids. So when I gave birth, my mom's side of the family came over to visit, meet Willow, and look after both of us. I got no support from Dad or Tammy. But 2 weeks ago, my dad and Tammy just turn up unannounced claiming to be in the area on holiday and they wanted to meet Willow. Willow was getting a bit hungry, so I grabbed a cover and let her latch onto me. Tammy said that the breastfeeding would have to stop soon. I was confused and asked her why, and she said that it couldn't be kept up when Willow was with them. Now I'm even more confused, and I ask her, "What are you talking about?" Tammy shows me photos of a baby room and says that we should split custody of Willow and not to worry because she has everything set up already. I just stare at her, but she continues. She claims that the age gap between myself and Marco is unhealthy for a child to grow up with, saying that it was obvious I needed help and she was happy to help, and mostly saying that I was obviously more interested in working than staying home with my baby, so I should just let her have Willow. But that obviously she wasn't able to breastfeed, so I would have to stop breastfeeding now. I told her, "You can't be serious to think that I'm giving you my baby," and she tells me to calm down. She says, "I'm not asking for full custody, but I could provide a much calmer and stabler home, and you could always visit. After all, it's what I deserve." Marco pushed everyone out and made sure that Willow and I were all right. Since then, I have been really weirded out, and I've been getting texts from my father saying that I need to let Tammy prove herself as a good caregiver, and Tammy has been sending loads of photos of the nursery she's made. And just to be super clear, I live in Italy, but Tammy lives in England. They literally flew from England to Italy to get my baby. Man, trying to take someone's baby while that baby is literally physically latched onto a mother is crazy enough as it is. But to have the audacity to say that the baby would be better off with them when OP's dad literally abandoned OP when OP was a kid. Like, what? He already had a chance to prove that he could be a good father, and he failed miserably, so why should he get a second chance? Our next Reddit post is from Throwaway. I'm a 24-year-old man, and I wasn't even going to make a post about this, but my brother, Turk, who's 25, made 4 posts about it, so I thought that I'd share my side of the story. For context, my fiancée Maria is 24 and my ex is Jen. A little over 5 years ago, my brother started dating Maria, my now fiance. 3 months after they started dating, they set me up with her now ex-best friend, Jen. The four of us did a lot together since the girls were best friends. Turk and Maria dated for a year, and Jen and I dated for 9 months. At the end of our relationship, I came home early and found Turk and Jen passionately hugging in my bed. After I processed the situation, I called Maria because I wanted to know if I could stay at her place. She came over and we confronted Turk and Jen. The two of them dumped the two of us, and I found out 2 days later they started dating each other. It broke me. I came home to find my brother passionately hugging my girlfriend, only for him to then run off with her. I had to move back in with my parents. It was infuriating because my parents kept talking about how happy Turk and Jen were. Throughout the next couple of months, Maria and I started talking. We were two people in similar awful situations, and we found some comfort in each other. 4 months after we got dumped, Maria and I officially started dating. 6 months after we got dumped, Turk found out that Jen was cheating on him and she left for the other guy. Maria would get the occasional message from Turk trying to reconnect, but she ignored him. Anyway, Maria and I are engaged and getting married in September. My parents were invited until my mom called me and threatened to not come if I didn't invite Turk. I told her not to bother coming regardless. In my mother's eyes, Turk can do no wrong. When he screwed and started dating my ex, I told my parents everything he did, and my mom tried defending him. My relationship with my parents isn't the greatest, but it was somewhat decent. After I uninvited my parents, Turk blew up my phone trying to get a hold of me. This is the first time he's even tried reaching out to me in 4 years. Okay, so OP provides the link to his brother's post, and the guy deleted the post, but the title of the post is, "Am I wrong for accidentally getting my parents uninvited for my brother's wedding?" Dude, you accidentally went balls deep into your brother's girlfriend? Okay, we're definitely getting a sense of what Turk is really like here, because the fact that he considers that an accident shows that he takes no responsibility for any of his mistakes. OP, you made the right call cutting off your brother and the rest of your family. Our next Reddit post is from Call Me Desdenova. Years ago, my dad met Harold through mutual friends, and they hit it off. I was 18 and in college when I met him, and we never had a close relationship. However, he always seemed to think of himself as a family friend, and was extremely infantilizing and condescending towards me. Every time I saw him, I tried to tell myself that it wasn't that bad, only for him to prove me wrong less than a minute later. Harold would disrespect my boundaries, saying things like, "You're not 19, you're a baby," while I was talking to other people and patronized me, my education, or my hobbies whenever he had the chance. He always noticed that he annoyed me, to which he would playfully ask if I hated him. I always said no, but only for my father's sake. The final straw came the day that Harold interrupted a barbecue to say, "I really like you, even though you're an impolite brat." I was 20 years old. I'd been quiet all day, working on a paper during the barbecue, but I replied patiently and politely whenever anyone addressed me. And even if that hadn't been the case, I knew that he didn't have the right to talk to me like that. After that, I started making an effort to avoid any events that I knew he'd be attending. Yesterday was my father's girlfriend's birthday. They threw a small lunch party at my dad's apartment. I went there with my fiance and our 6-month-old son. Harold was there. I hadn't seen him in months, but he still talked to me as if I was a dumb child. Never mind that I'm engaged, a mother, and 26. I spent the whole party ignoring his helpful advice about me being too young to get married or be a mom. It helped that most of the other guests seemed to disagree with him. My baby spent most of the afternoon sleeping in the bassinet in my old room. My baby woke up hungry, so I went to breastfeed him and excused myself from the party for a while. I returned to jokes and comments, all from Harold, about how I was probably struggling if my son managed to leech me away for so long. He went on to interrupt a conversation I was having with another of my dad's friends to question pretty much everything about my parenting, and to make more comments about my age. I couldn't take it anymore after he asked if I thought about giving my baby up for adoption. Yo, what? I got my son and told my fiance we were leaving. We said goodbye to everyone except Harold. When we got to the door, Harold came to ask me if we were leaving. I tried to make an excuse, but he kept trying to make us stay. After a small back and forth, he jokingly asked if I hated him. And this time I said, "Yes, I do. Can we go now?" He didn't say anything and we left. On the way home, my fiance said that he was proud of me. My father called me this morning to say the opposite, and we had a small fight, but ultimately he decided to drop the subject. I'm sure this isn't over, but if it keeps going, it won't be because of me. Man, I don't even know what this guy's talking about. Too young to be a mom at 26? Isn't that actually literally the average age? Average age of mom at birth. In 2011, the average mom was 25 and a half at the birth of her first child. So yeah, OP is literally perfectly average here. Oh, my mistake. In 2021, the average age is 27, so OP is just 1 year younger. Still, this guy's just idiotic. Also, OP posted a pretty long update, which I'm not going to read. The gist of it is that OP told her dad about the adoption comment, but weirdly, OP's father is kind of siding with Harold, and OP decides to just cut Harold out of her life, and she's even considering cutting her father out of her life, which is fair, to be honest. It's really weird to me that he would defend his friend like that. According to Harold, this guy's daughter is unfit to be a mother, and he decides to keep being friends with him? Why? Our next Reddit post is from Annual Zucchini. It's so unreal to me that a person has this much audacity, but apparently my sister does. I'm a 28-year-old woman, and I met my soon-to-be wife, Noah, who's 35, when she moved to my country for work. She was freshly divorced, but she has a little girl, Lena, who's 5. Lena is the sweetest, and it's been wonderful getting to know her. Noah divorced her husband after realizing she was gay, and her husband ran for the hills, stating that he didn't want anything to do with her or Lena in case she passed it on, whatever the F that means. I proposed to Noah 10 months ago because I knew that she'd be too nervous to. It wasn't extravagant. I just asked her over dinner with Lena's blessing. We've agreed that we want to keep it simple and intimate for the wedding. Her first wedding was big, and she hated it. So our wedding is just going to be family and close friends. My parents have offered to give us money to help towards it, even though we've reassured them that it's not going to be a big affair. But they wanted Lena to get a pretty flower girl dress, and they wanted to pay for my dress and whatever Noah wanted to wear. Probably a suit. Enter my entitled younger sister, Kate, who's 25, who acts like she and her boyfriend are engaged, but he's actually too scared to ask her. She's the golden child, spoiled, and gets whatever she wants. She's made some remarks about Noah already having a child and being a divorcee, but I told her to lose the ignorance. Just because Kate decided to stay in our small hometown and not expand her personality doesn't mean she can say stuff like that. Over dinner last night, Kate started whining about how I didn't need any money and she didn't know why we were bothering with a wedding when Noah already had one before. She was angry that Noah suddenly decided that she's gay and she wants to have another go at marriage with a woman. This is something that Noah is insecure about, so I got protective of her. Kate went on to say that she could just reuse her old wedding dress and started cackling. Kate's boyfriend looked embarrassed, and my parents told her to be quiet, but no one said anything else. My parents have come to me and said that it made sense to them if they gave more money to my sister's wedding fund because this was going to be her first and only wedding, but she's not even engaged yet. And they're totally ignoring the fact that I've never been married. I told them to keep their money because it's not welcome if they were going to shame my wife and stepdaughter. We're perfectly able to fund it on our own. Yeah, OP, good call. I think your wedding would be better off without your parents' money and without your parents entirely. Our next Reddit post is from Neji No. Our car was stolen in June and then returned to us at the end of July. Our car is being worked on, and my husband has had to tell our neighbor's mother who visits that she can no longer park in our parking spots. Everything was well and good until today when I was coming home from some errands. This lady is on our stoop asking for my husband and if there's a way that he can extend her parking allowance in our spot. She explains that she's moving into the townhouse next to us to help care for her grandkids, and she sees that our car is a lost cause. She said that us losing our car was great so that now she can park closer to the townhouse and not have to park on the street. I told her our car is going to be ready in October, so you have until then to make arrangements. This woman, who I'm assuming has no sense of reality, said that the chances of our car ever working is nil and that we should just give her our parking spot. Our townhouses have assigned parking and the guest spots are adjacent. I told her that she has to wait until my husband comes home and talks to him. She literally said that she won't talk to him and she'll just take our spot whenever she wants, regardless of whether we get our car working or not. I know it sounds petty, but I'm considering calling a tow truck the next time she parks there. And then OP posted an update. The neighbor, who's the son of this entitled woman, has gotten involved and sided with us on this matter. He told his mother to park in the guest parking spots or not come at all. Also, she was lying to me when she said that she was going to move in. My neighbor basically gave me his blessing to call a tow truck if she does it again. Yeah, OP, that seems like the logical solution. Clearly, this entitled Karen is beyond reasoning, so just tow her until she learns her lesson. I'm a 40-year-old male and my partner is a 36-year-old male. We were forced to take in my mother and her sister after they were kicked out of their last home. They continually change our decor, rearrange things, and toss out what they don't like. Some of our pictures have disappeared. Half of our kitchen knives were tossed out because you have too many. They tossed out some very expensive sushi knives. My aunt likes to garden, or at least what she calls it. Basically, she cuts everything down to the base so that it can regrow and be healthier. I told her to never again touch my plants, how this isn't their home and they're guests. My partner came into the bedroom in tears because they cut down our new magnolia tree. Sure enough, our tree was cut off at the base and shoved in the trash. They denied doing it until I threatened to immediately kick them out. My aunt tried to say that it was a weed, even though it was 6 feet tall, flowering, surrounded by rocks, and had an orchard tag. Then she tried to say that she knew what it was, but she didn't like where we planted it. I told her that she was paying for a new one, and the next time she destroys something else, they both get tossed out. So now my mom is sulking, and my aunt is pissed that she had to shell out $120 for our new tree. I'm currently on the way home. My partner is driving, and I'm holding our new black tulip magnolia tree. That was r/entitled parents, and if you like this content, check out my podcast where I publish the exact same episodes. Also, hit that subscribe button because I put out new Reddit videos every single day. Welcome to r/malicious compliance, where the penalty for being late to your job is execution. Our next Reddit post is from Actual Miss. So I'm working for a low-level corporation with about 450 employees. I've been there for 5 years, and I've risen to the top of my department's productivity levels. I mention this because it does pertain to the story. Management had a policy that latecomers would be penalized, but that lateness could be excused under certain circumstances. I was good at my job, and I actually loved doing it, so I was more or less a dream employee. I always showed up to work 20 to 30 minutes early because I liked to sit in the lunchroom and prepare for my day. Management knew that I was almost always early, so if I was late from time to time, which was rare, they'd let it slide, as there was always a valid reason. Now, some of the other employees didn't get this level of flexibility. Chronically late employees would get written up and not have their constant lateness excused. They'd complain, of course, but management was firm. Our company was an actual meritocracy where more productive employees would experience preferential treatment. Then the company gets sold and we get new management. An international corporation was only interested in buying us up, stripping us down, and selling off the company. Of course, they denied this constantly, but the fact that over the next 2 years they stripped us down and sold off the company proved they were lying. New management comes in and makes a bunch of idiotic changes. One of those changes is that no reasons for being late were accepted, regardless of whether the excuse was valid. Anyone 5 minutes late for work would be written up. So at the team meeting where this was explained, I asked, so if someone is 5 minutes late and someone else is 3 hours late, the punishment is the same? They actually said yes. From that day on, I stopped coming in early. I still started work at my usual time, but I sat in my local coffee shop instead of my work's lunchroom. This meant that my work missed out because in the past, I would often help out by answering questions, even start work early if needed. I mean, I love my job, and the old management were actually wonderful bosses. No more of that under the new management. In fact, if something happened and I was going to end up a few minutes late, I'd just say, F it. If being 3 hours late was the same punishment as being 5 minutes late, I just decided to come in later. I'd call work to tell them that I was delayed, then go out and have a leisurely meal in a restaurant, or run some personal errands, go shopping, even see a movie, etc. Depending on my mood and how awful the new management had been lately, what would have been like a 7-minute lateness on my part would now be like a 3-hour lateness. Sure, it cost me a few bucks, but I made almost as much money in bonuses as I did in my hourly salary. So missing out on a few hours here and there didn't really bother me that much. I would come in 3 or 4 hours late and my new bosses would be fuming. There was nothing they could do but write me up for a basic tardy, same as they would if I was 5 minutes late. Okay, so down in the comments, people are talking about how this happened on a much more epic scale in ancient history. There was an event in 208 BC called the Qin Shi and Wu Guang Uprising. So what happened was these two armies were ordered to travel north to defend this other location. However, while the two armies were traveling north, they had to stop halfway because of a severe rainstorm. At the time, the government that these two armies were fighting for had this super strict law that said that anyone who showed up late for government jobs would be executed regardless of the nature of that delay. So if they did what they were supposed to do and showed up to defend the border, then they would have been executed for being late. But if the penalty for being late is execution and the penalty for rebelling is also execution, everyone was just like, okay, well then why don't we just rebel? At least then we have a fighting chance. So then the two marching armies just teamed up and organized a rebellion against the government because that was their best shot of not getting executed. Okay, there's another story where a prison warden, like the penalty for allowing prisoners to escape was death, but also the penalty from escaping from prison is death. So when a couple of prisoners escaped this warden's jail, the warden was like, hey, I'll just join you guys. Man, that's so funny. What's the penalty for screwing up at my job? We kill you. Okay, what's the penalty if I take up arms and try to kill you? We kill you. Okay, well then, I guess I'll just try to kill you first? Yo, what doofus came up with these laws? Our next Reddit post is from Ladybug Gal. Since there's only a week left of summer, I decided to take my kids to the local amusement/water park today. As I've gotten older, the rides have gotten a little tougher on me. In addition, my daughter tends to get motion sick rather easily. I don't like the way motion sickness pills make me feel. So I always take along a Ziploc baggie full of ginger candy to prevent and soothe nausea. This time, I had chewy mango ginger candies, hard plain ginger candies, and hard lemon ginger candies. For those who have never had ginger candy, it is spicy. The lemon ginger is probably the mildest. The plain ginger is just plain hot. The mango ginger is sweet and spicy, but they also stick to your teeth like crazy. They are definitely an acquired taste. As we're standing in line for the log ride, I pull out my baggie. I choose a lemon one, as does my son who's 13. My daughter, who's 12, asks for the mango one. While I'm fishing out a mango candy, I hear the 7-year-old kid in front of us tell his mom that he wants some candy. His mom distractedly says that she doesn't have any candy, so the boy says, "But she does." The boy turns to me and asks for one. I tell him I don't really think that he would like my candy. By this time, the boy's mom has focused in on the interaction. As the kid starts to whine that, of course he'd like my candy, his mom just huffs and says, "You've got a whole baggie. Can't you give him just one? Come on, don't be greedy." I say, all right, and dig out a lemon one. I'm not completely heartless. That's when the kid whines that he wants the mango one. I tell him that the lemon one is better, but he insists on the mango. I warn him that it's kinda sticky as I hand it over. The kid rips open the candy packaging and shoves the candy in his mouth. The kid gets in 3 quick chews while my kids stare at him. Then he actually starts to taste the ginger and a look of horror comes over his face. He screams and tries to spit it out. He's jumping around and flapping his arms. The mom is panicking, asking what's wrong. He's screaming that it's bad and it's hot and I want it out of my mouth. His mom tells him to spit it out. That's when I pipe up with a very helpful, "It's really sticky. What's left is probably stuck in his teeth. He'll have to wait for it to melt off if he doesn't want to chew." The mom looks at me in disbelief, and I just shrug. Then she asks me what the hell I gave her son. You probably should have asked that sooner, lady. I answer, ginger candy? It's good for nausea. I'm pretty sure I'd be dead if looks could kill. We got to move up in line 2 spaces though, because she whisked her kid off to a water fountain. I'd like to think that kids would think twice about demanding things from strangers. Plus, it was entertaining. Overall, the kids and I counted it as a win. Down in the comments, we have this story from Punk Linux. My mother used to teach junior high decades ago, and she tells the story of some kid who stole chocolate candy from some teacher's purse. Only, it wasn't candy, but a very chocolatey laxative. The kid had several pantaloon blowouts before an ambulance was called. Because of this incident, teachers had to have any and all personal medication, over the counter or not, locked with the school nurse. Our next Reddit post is from Actual Miss. I used to be in charge of the printer room in a rather large company. We shipped a ton of product every day, and everything shipped had to have the accompanying printed label and documents. Nothing can be loaded onto the trucks without this paperwork. Now, this was in the olden days of the 90s, so we had 7 massive, 4-foot-tall dot matrix printers that did all the work. These
No, I can't sleep. Been a little while since you called me. I noticed that your fans still follow me. I'ma hit you up, what you want of me, cause I kinda need it. See, baby, I'm a lottery pick. We should stop texting and swapping these pics. You should come over and sit on the end of this. Bet don't tell nobody, just me and you in a hotel lobby. It's always sunny, baby. You should come over and fuck. You should come over, get drunk. You ain't gotta tell nobody, cause baby I know what you want. You should come over, get drunk. You should come over, get some. You should come over, yeah, yeah. You should come over, yeah. Baby, you too hard to handle. I can be Harry, you Frank though. Baby, I'm just being frank though. I'll take my shot, you know I got the ammo. Put a ring on it, gonna make me fall, so I spring on it. Sugar sweet and she got a peach on it. Big thighs, baby, I'ma keep calling. Like, don't tell nobody, just me and you in a hotel lobby. It's always sunny, baby. You should come over and fuck. You should come over, get drunk. You ain't gotta tell nobody, cause baby I know what you want. You should come over, get drunk. You should come over, get some. You should come over, yeah, yeah. You should come over. You should come over and fuck. You should come over, get drunk. You ain't gotta tell nobody, cause baby I know what you want. You should come over. You should come over, yeah, yeah. You should come over, yeah. You should come over, yeah, yeah. You should come over, yeah. No, I can't.
What it is, ho, what's up? Every good girl needs a little truck, got it tucked. He gave it up, got the stock all night. I like you ain't gotta say it when you know it's on side. Hit him up in the truck, got it tucked. He gave it up, got the stock all night. I like you ain't gotta say it when you know it's on side. Bedroom bully in a bando, he gon' make it flip, do it with no handles. Never switching sides, only switching angles. Ooh, we go crazy like Rambo. What it is, ho, what's up? Every good girl needs a little love. Every bad boy needs a little love. If you put it down, I'ma pick it up, up, up. What it is, ho, what's up? Every good girl needs a little love. Every bad boy needs a little love. If you put it down, I'ma pick it up, up, up.
I'm all the way up. All the way.
I'm super shy, but wait a minute while I make you mine, make you mine. 떨리는 지금도 you're on my mind all the time. I wanna tell you, but I'm super shy, super shy. I'm super shy, but wait a minute while I make you mine, make you mine. 떨리는 지금도 you're on my mind all the time. I wanna tell you, but I'm super shy, super shy. And I wanna go out with you. Where you wanna go? Find a little spot, just sit and talk, looking pretty. Follow me. 우리 둘이 나란히 보이지 내 눈이 갑자기 빛나지 When you say I'm a dream. You don't even know my name, dear. You don't even know my name, dear. Super shy, but wait a minute while I make you mine, make you mine. 떨리는 지금도 you're on my mind all the time. I wanna tell you, but I'm super shy, super shy. I'm super shy, but wait a minute while I make you mine, make you mine. 떨리는 지금도 you're on my mind all the time. I wanna tell you, but I'm super shy, super shy. 나 원래 말도 잘하고 그런데 왜 이런지 I don't like that. Something out about you, yeah, you're special and you know it all the time, babe. I'm super shy, but wait a minute while I make you mine, make you mine. 떨리는 지금도 you're on my mind all the time. I wanna tell you, but I'm super shy, super shy. I'm super shy, but wait a minute while I make you mine, make you mine. 떨리는 지금도 you're on my mind all the time. I wanna tell you, but I'm super shy, super shy. You don't even know my name, do you?
Check it. Oh, I think I got the fever. I'm heated, pumping up the meter. Want me a ringleader, bad party bleeder. Make it sweat a storm, lead after leader. Hey, can you dig it? I come alive, y'all give me what you got. Back up, come shake up, bump your fist up. You took the shot of the buckshot, so bust slip up. Morning like a kid, make it feel alright. Move it up all night, body rock, show me what you got. Let go, break. Slip up, morning like a kid, make it feel alright. Move it up all night, body rock, show me what you got. Let go, break.
Hoping they don't want you, hope they get invited. Late night rendezvous, it's alright, but we love it how the club vibrating this tight. When you hold me, there's a place I go. It's a different high. Oh no. When you touch me, I get vulnerable in a different light. Oh no. I got to see it go. To believe in a miracle that could slip through my hands, but could you take a chance on me? When you hold me, there's a place I go. It's a different high. Oh no. When you touch me, I get vulnerable in a different light. Oh no. I got to see it go. To believe in a miracle that could slip through my hands, but could you take a chance on me? 우리는 어둠 속을 헤매고